Welcome to Skills for Life, a podcast about high-demand jobs that are shaping future opportunities. This show is brought to you by the North Shore Schools Foundation. I'm Dorrian, your host and a North Shore mom. Let's get started. Today on the show, I am speaking with Michael Matosich from Nature Conservancy, and he is in the corporate engagement team with a focus on water. Michael, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Kira. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you. So I just introduced you, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have no idea what I just said. So can you please tell me a little bit about the work that you do? Because it sounds really cool and like a whole world I didn't know existed. So tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, of course. So like you said, I work for the Nature Conservancy. It's a global environmental nonprofit working to create a world where both people and nature can thrive. So really about seeking that harmony and balance between humans and the environment that we live in. And so I sit on our corporate engagement team. So we work with various corporate partners to help them kind of improve their sustainability, how they operate, and kind of improve the resiliency within their supply chains. So I focus on our corporate engagements that have a focus on water. So a lot of companies are reliant upon water sources for their business and operations. So really kind of helping them improve the way they operate and work with nature to produce those outcomes that they're trying to create within their company.
So can you give me an example of a company that maybe relies on water and the work that maybe you're doing with them to help those outcomes?
Yeah, so I guess looking your neck of the woods up in Seattle. So Microsoft, for example, is a company we work with. A lot of people are like, why would Microsoft be concerned about water? But a lot of technology companies do have a great concern because their cloud kind of operating storage systems rely upon water to cool these facilities. A lot of these facilities may be in places that are water scarce, or they might have water, but there's other concerns on the ground that are affecting kind of the company's use of that water. So for example, a lot of the work we do with companies isn't so much about looking within the fence line. Of course, we appreciate and promote companies who reduce the water use and improve their efficiency. But even if a company has great efficiency control within their operations, they still are going to be impacted by the water outside the fence lines. So we really look at protecting water at the source. So looking where companies and communities get their water from and helping improve kind of the watershed where they operate. So with companies like Microsoft, they may be interested in supporting a project we have that might be forest restoration. A lot of communities' water comes from surrounding forests. Forests kind of help purify water, help percolate down to groundwater sources. So a company might be interested in supporting that work that essentially helps deliver water to communities and where companies operate, just to make it more sustainable and continuous.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, talk about a whole slice of life that I just gave no thought to whatsoever. Thank you for doing that. That is really important work that you're doing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me how you got here. What was your career path? Give me the 10,000-foot view on that.
Yeah, so I guess I would say my career path is quite scattered, and I just say that maybe to stress that it's not a set path you have to take if you're interested in going into environmental conservation. So in undergrad, I studied political science and international affairs from the University of California, Davis. Both degrees I kind of focused on environmental policy, environmental law, kind of global health, natural resources, things that touch down in the environmental sector. So through that, I was able to study abroad in Ecuador for a summer, looking at sustainable development. I did a summer internship in Washington, D.C. for the House of Representatives, but I was able to kind of tailor that towards my interest, looking at environmental policies and helping promote sustainable cities, things like that. And then after graduation, I served as a field team leader for AmeriCorps NCCC. It's a community-based volunteer program. Some people compare it to domestic Peace Corps in a sense. So I had a team of 10 adults that I led on various community service projects throughout the Northeast region of the United States. A lot of those projects happen to be environmental projects. So looking at urban greening in Baltimore, we built a lot of trails on Staten Island, New York. We did some urban gardening in New Jersey, just a lot of different community service projects like that. So it kind of gave me that on the ground field experience, I guess I would say. I wasn't quite ready to dive straight into an office job yet, right after undergrad. So this was really a great opportunity to get out in the field. And looking back, I think that really was a valuable experience just because a lot of people kind of skip that field work. They don't know what it's like to work with people in the community, get their hands dirty. So yeah, that was kind of a great year-long service project or experience. And then from that, I worked at an environmental foundation in Washington, D.C., the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. So that's kind of the reverse end of wasn't getting in the field on the ground, getting my hands dirty, but instead giving out funding to organizations doing that type of work. So kind of did a 180 and got to see the other side of what it takes to promote environmental projects and get the outcomes we want to see in the environmental space. So I was there for about 2 years. And then after that, I went to graduate school. I earned a master's in international economics and international affairs from Johns Hopkins. But again, like undergrad, I kind of focused on energy, resources, and the environment. And this program was really neat because it was very hands-on. We did a lot of study trips around the world. So I went to China and Vietnam to study climate change and the effects it was having on the Mekong River. I went to Pakistan to study their energy infrastructure. In lieu of kind of like a senior thesis, we did a practicum project. So for that, I was looking at the economic impacts that climate change is having on agriculturally dependent economies. So we touched down on a couple different subjects there. We looked at kind of wine country in California, cotton growing regions of Georgia, and then Dominica, which has a dependency on the banana trade. So I got to fly to all three of those places, which was really exciting to kind of get back in the field and see what's going on. And then for my summer internship in grad school, I worked at the U.S. Department of State at their Regional Environment, Science, Technology, and Health Hub at the U.S. Embassy in San Jose, Costa Rica. So that was really neat opportunity to see how U.S. conducts foreign policy abroad. That hub coordinates U.S. policy on environmental topics for 22 countries in that region. So really exciting work. And plus, it was great to spend the summer down in Costa Rica. Got to explore a lot and get out in the beautiful environment that Costa Rica is so famous for. So yeah, I guess, like I said, career path is very checkered and spans kind of public, private, and nonprofit sectors. But looking back at those experiences, I was able to kind of weave an environmental thread throughout all of those jobs, whether or not the primary focus of that job was environmental.
So that's a pretty amazing career path that you took. I'm wondering for students that might feel like a little intimidated by that, what your thoughts are on the various different ways that people might get to this point that you're at.
I just want to stress that, like I said earlier, there isn't one set path you need to take. I know when I was in school, I would attend a lot of career fairs and interview panels with professionals from the field. And I was hoping to hear like, you need to study this major, do this job, work for this employer, X, Y, and Z. I was just hoping someone would say like, this is what you need to do just to make it very clear. But I guess students should take some relief in the fact that there really isn't any set path you have to do. You can follow whatever you're kind of interested in and go from there and just take on any opportunities you might have and kind of see where it leads.
That's great. I love hearing that, that there's many ways to kind of get to the point that you're at and that you did so many different things. I mean, what a robust resume you have just by being interested in those places and getting out into the field. That's so cool. How do you see the industry or the field transforming over the next 5 to 10 years as our students kind of come into the workplace? What do you think it's going to look like by the time they get there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in the last decade or so, we've really seen conservation to increase its use of technology and artificial intelligence just to help speed up kind of the transformation we want to see in the environment and on the ground, and with the results that we hope we can accomplish through our work. Technology and AI is just really helpful in aiding scientists and project teams to kind of collect and analyze that data from the field, which is then kind of used to help us make the best, well-informed conservation plans possible. And then we hope that these plans and the data that we collect can help decision makers kind of create policies on this data to support the environment and nature. So I think kind of this use of technology and artificial intelligence and just analyzing data, being able to interpret that data is going to become more and more important in the field. And those that are able to kind of help with that process, I think will kind of be suited well for a career in environmental work. But at the same time, it takes a ton of different people and a ton of different jobs to run an environmental organization. It's not just those people on the ground collecting the data. It's operations team, it's finance people, it's of course human resources, it's fundraisers, it's people interested in policy that kind of want to advocate for policy changes at the state, local, federal level. It's a whole team of people that really get the work going. So really, whatever your interest may be, I think you can tie them to the environmental sector. And not only can you work for an environmental nonprofit, but pretty much every company is starting to create environmental targets and policies that they hope to accomplish. So you can tackle this from the private sector in addition to the nonprofit sector. And then, of course, you can look at it from a government lens if that's your interest as well. So you can really apply any skills or interests you have to different sectors.
Wow. So if I'm a student and I'm like, yes, I want to be involved in that work, that's right up my alley, what should I be doing right now? What are some things that are going to kind of give me an edge as I'm looking to pursue this career path?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is just to learn as much as you can. The more you know, the more you will care about issues, and that care is kind of what leads to the change we want to see. And as you learn, kind of get involved locally, know what environmental challenges your community faces. I know I was driving through Seattle last summer, and that was when you guys were having a huge heat wave. You don't have to go far to kind of understand and learn about the impacts that climate change is having on our local communities. It's happening all around the world. So just get involved and see how you can help and make a difference. The Nature Conservancy works in all 50 states and is very active in the Seattle area and around Puget Sound. So there's, I'm sure, plenty of opportunities to volunteer or learn about what we're doing. But aside from the Nature Conservancy, I'm sure there's lots of other great organizations in the Seattle area as well, doing really important work. So just reach out, see what you can do. But at the same time, you don't necessarily have to engage directly with an organization doing this type of work to really start speaking up and make a difference. You can bring it into any daily conversations you have with friends and family. You can do projects, papers on it in school. You can act in any way possible, whether it's through your school. You can kind of see how you can make your campus more sustainable, your sports team, any club or extracurricular activities you're involved in. Really start thinking about how can I make this involvement or organization or group more sustainable. Just really be kind of creative on where you can start making a difference. And those small changes not only make a difference, but starts giving you kind of informal experience that really will set you up for a career in this field. I think employers really like to see commitment. So if you can kind of weave a storyline throughout your experiences of like why you care for the environment, how you've shown that you've cared, and kind of results you've gotten from those experiences, I think you'll be well set up for a career in that or further studies, even if it's not working directly for an environmental group.
That's wonderful. Michael, thank you so much for being with me today and just sharing all of your knowledge and expertise with our parents and our students. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me on.
We hope you'll join us again, and remember to hit subscribe to be notified about upcoming episodes. Join the conversation on our Facebook page, Build Skills for Life. That's Build Skills, the number 4, and then the word life. To learn more about the North Shore Schools Foundation, visit us at northshoreschoolsfoundation.org. Thanks for listening.